such a treat. I love this film so much, and your performances are fabulous. So, okay, can I ask you first about casting? How did you come up with these two perfect embodiments?
The ideas were about 10 years apart. I worked with Zoey almost 10 years ago, and somewhere during the shoot, I said, I'm gonna make this film about making a Breathless someday. You should play Seabird. You have it, you can do it. Anyway, so we always talk stuff like that, dream on. But yeah, it happened eventually. And Zoe still looked the part. And then Guillaume just came in regular casting in Paris. We cast for many months, and
Is it true he's never been in a movie?
No, not anymore.
Was it true?
You're insanely great.
Thank you very much. So yeah, what happened is I was an extra before making this movie, and I received an email from the casting director, Stéphane Battu, that you can applaud because he found all those faces that look like those people back there. And in the email, he phrased this like kind of weirdly, like we're all looking for people that are physically close, and this feels like something very weird, like he wanted naked pictures of us, like but so no.
It's your misunderstanding.
Yeah, I misunderstood. So I thought, yeah, no, but like the phrasing was weird, and it could read like it was a scam. So I went to the audition with a knife in my pocket. And then he was alone. I was expecting a lot of people, so it became even more strange. And then I did the audition, and then 6 months later, he calls me back and he says, Rick is in Paris in the next 3 days, so he wants to see you. So here is 25 pages of text you have to learn for the audition, and then we're gonna see you. And then I had 8 hours of casting with different actors, and at the end of this, they handed me the script without telling me if I had the part or not. And 2 weeks later, he calls me at 10:30 p.m. and he said, "You got the part."
My perspective, I looked through just hundreds of people for every part, just on video, and then picked the ones who I thought looked the most interesting or looked like the real characters and all that. And Guillaume really impressed me because he had this kind of swagger about him. He came in and someone asked him, he introduced himself to someone. There was multiple people around, and I noticed he didn't think I was even watching me. Someone asked him his name. He said, "I'm Guillaume Godard." And he had this sort of like, I recognized it as a young filmmaker where you're kind of, he had this, I don't know, like this confidence. Yeah.
I faked it.
Yeah. This kind of confidence and swagger. I said, oh yeah, this kind of, I don't know. I just felt it was a perfect niche of, I don't know, what I felt the filmmakers are making their first movie. That, to me, that's what this was a reflection of. All the bravado, confidence, and insecurity.
Yeah. And Zoe, what did you know about Jean Seibert before taking this on, and what was your view of her? I'm really curious. She's such a legendary figure.
I think I had a pretty general surface understanding of her, and I had seen her, I'd seen Bonjour Tristesse. I hadn't seen Saint Joan yet. I'd obviously watched Breathless, and I knew about her, the tragic ending of her life. And one of the things that was so wonderful about this opportunity is to show her in a different light, in a different moment of her of her life. And I had a lot of fun trying to do as much research as possible. And there's this incredible clip of her giving a tour of her apartment at the time. That was a great window into her that I transcribed, and I memorized it, and I would repeat it and repeat it and repeat it, just for her voice and physicality, but also her spirit and her energy. But I totally fell in love with her. And I was so grateful for the opportunity to do a deep dive into this really wonderful, brave, powerful, deeply, deeply talented person who is oftentimes just, remembered for her very tragic fate.
Thanks. Well, yeah. This film is such a treat to watch. I mean, I think, yeah, you might agree. So I want to ask you, Rick, I mean, I don't, no offense, but I don't think of you as a Godardian filmmaker. So I'm really curious to hear about like how connected you are to this film. Yeah, exactly. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, well, the name of the film's, Nouvelle. I like the whole era. It's an homage to that era. This film, I always had it in my mind it should look like a film made in 1959. There's not a shot in the movie that wouldn't fit in a movie from that era. We tried to get the look, just photographically, everything about it. It was so different than the film they made where they could just show up on the street and shoot. We had to recreate all that. It was so meticulous, but everybody cared, so much. But people do ask me, well, why that film? Why not 400 Blows? Why not? You could go through the list of all our favorite Nouvelle Vague films. But, Breathless is the most extraordinary. It's just so different. Godard's so different. He thinks so different. And there's just something special between Seberg and Belmondo that's so mysterious, and I don't know, but it really is a reflection of that time and place. Mm-hmm. But that production is still miraculous, and we really got under the hood of this production. It's so well documented. You were talking about the videos. Obviously, there's a lot of Godard videos, but we had everything. We had camera reports. There's a lot of documentaries. There's memoirs. There's tons of interviews. So we had, Vincent, Holly, and I, we had so much material. All those quotes are real. We could really get at it. And like we had camera reports from the thing. I would ask Hubert, my wonderful first AD, the best. Yeah, everybody on the crew cared so much. But it's like, how many takes did they do of that? The scene at the travel agency where it's the long dolly shot that Godard's operating dolly. And it's kind of, he said, oh, that was 4 takes. I was like, yeah, because that's a really a lot of them were 1, 2 takes. That was 4, so it's like, okay, well, the one we're gonna film is take 3. They're getting good, but still some stuff to work out.
But for the New York Herald Tribune, we recreated that exact one, just the flip. So every single step was exactly, if you watched it side by side, but we're just on the other side, so we're saying different things, but we still wanted to,
we weren't replicating any imagery from the film until the very end, the very last shot of the movie is you doing that.
And the choreography of the New York Herald Tribune line.
Yeah, we got that. It was really fun. A lot of rehearsals. We had such a reference. We were like, okay, it's 7 steps here, then take a left. You hit your head.
Oh yeah, and I had all the videos. I'd pull them up and be like, nope, that's 4 steps there, and turn.
Really.
So obsessed.
It was an obsessive recreation.
And Hubert was was because there was this weird thing at the end of the scene that we all tried. We were all private investigators. She was holding this thing in her hand, and we were like, "What the fuck is that?" And one day Hubert comes, he's like, "I know, it's sugar cube." What?
Yeah, what is it in her mouth? It's not a pen. It's not a thing. It's not a piece of paper.
And he's like, "It's a sugar cube."
He had a theory. I believe it is a sugar cube. It's like, they had coffee recently, and she had it on her.
So I did it. We had a sugar cube, and
we committed to the sugar
again
cube
later in the movie too.
But yeah, there were a lot of things like that.
And
but that recreation.
What street is that? What's the street at the end? The street that everybody lived on. The street that Kiki and when.
Champagne Premier?
Campagne
Premier.
Where
Yeah.
Gene is
Campagne
buried.
Première. And we
No.
actually shot it in the same street, but it had changed so much, and so they had to do VFX like ton of it, and it just looks the same in the movie.
But
now.
you have to be on the real. So many of these were on the actual locations, and every scene had its own challenges. But yeah, if you look at that street, it's just paved. It's asphalt now. We had to go back and it's all cobblestones, to get that look. But again, we had all the reference. They had all in the movie. There's this scaffolding. We put that up. It's a lot of visual effects. I don't want you to think it's a visual effects movie, but there was just a ton of architectural background details. We would shoot, out windows, and we had to kind of create Paris of '59 out there. It just isn't there anymore. We were on the same streets. We were in the same areas, but it all had to be recreated.
You had to do an Amelie on it.
Yeah. But, they had 20 days, we had 30, but we had to do, everything they did.
Wow. I have a tiny film geek question, which is Pierre Ricien is in this.
Yeah.
And so I want to ask you about that. Do people know who that is? He used to come to Telluride. He was one of the Telluride deities. Yeah, we're in the Pierre. So did you know him? And was he really in it that much? I'm curious.
Yeah. He was the first AD, and all that's true. You know, he's the youngest. You know, they
As
knew
he
each
always
other.
said.
Yeah.
It was true.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. And he's such a beloved figure. You know, there's been a lot of recipient love. Everywhere I go, people are like, oh yeah, Can, he was the guy. Oh, Telluride, he's the... But I never met him. I have friends who knew him.
I did.
Yeah, so many people
What was he like?
knew him.
He was completely pompous. And he would sit in the little lobby of the Hotel Splendide at Cannes and try to convince everyone to take the films that he was secretly repping.
Of course. Yeah, I don't know.
But very
I pay him...
He was the fixer.
I
He was
pay
like
him
the fixer.
an honor here that he's in the movie and he's kind of a beloved character and he's in there, but yeah, I never met him. I would have, but he always turned down my movies everywhere. You know, so I didn't have, you know, Michelle and Laurent, they knew Godard. That logo before the movie, ARP, Godard made that and made it for them. So there were connections everywhere. Everybody, it was...
What's this sound? Maybe it's Godard talking to us.
So, yeah.
Or his Pierre
But
Ricien
it was
objecting.
it was so close. It was so interesting. We had such support from France. I always thought they would, you know, not want an American to do this, but they were so generous. They gave her everything. I was a little paranoid, you know, I'm a director. But like they gave us the camera you see in the movie is the camera that shot the movie. When Raoul Couture passed away, he went to an archive, and we go there and say, hey, we're making this movie, is the camouflage still there? Say, yeah, does it still work? Yeah. Can we use it? Yeah. I mean, that was kind of the experience I had, and it was amazing. It was just amazing to have that kind of closeness. And, you know, Michelle and Laurent, they do a lot of movies, and the crew, everybody I met and ended up working with was just, I don't know, it was special. Yeah.
So I want to make sure that you guys get a chance to ask some of your questions before out of time. So does anyone have any Yep, on the way back.
Hi, thank you for this movie. It's wonderful. I'm curious, growing up, revering Jean-Luc Godard and his work, was it ever uncanny being on set and having to direct, you know, this character who is, being a director, directing a director?
Yeah.
Could everyone hear that?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the back. Yeah. Can I tell the story? Yeah. There's a lot of time. I would say cut. You know, or we'd be filming, and I'd have to remind Guillaume. You know, after the cut. You know, he would keep talking and have ideas. I said, Guillaume, I'm here to remind you, you're playing a director. I'm actually directing the movie. So I know you're in character, but
It was the spirit of
it
the
was
bar.
great. It was awesome, and we were really making this film probably about 180 degree different than the production you see going on in the movie. This isn't a good, like if you're a film student, I wouldn't do it the way they do it. I don't know how these films work. That's what makes it so miraculous. Just like, don't do that at home, kids. I don't know how. But no, we rehearsed a lot. We talked, you know, we have a very different process.
Rick wrote a rehearsal manifesto for all of the actors, which there were many, so everyone was on the same page that we were not approaching this process in any way, shape, or form similarly to how it was done. It was not.
Don't get any ideas.
Yeah, it's not like in a bottle. There's no. We're not improvising. We are rehearsing it, and we have a different approach to it, which I think was very wise to make everyone very clear about
That was
that.
your self-protection document. Huh?
Kind of. But, yeah.
Okay, anyone else? Don't be shy. Yeah, down here.
Did they really put the camera in that truck? Did they really put the camera in that truck?
Yeah,
Sure.
everything's. We didn't really make up much. You know, it's pretty well documented. All
Yeah.
that. So yeah.
This really is the beginning of like freeing the camera, taking it out in the street, film change and coming out of
Yeah,
the studio.
I mean-
I mean, it really is this moment of that happening.
Yeah, you're watching a revolution going on. It's really at this moment one guy kind of knows it, but it's happening. you know, and it's technological, this light, you know, we have a handheld camera, this Camaflex, just the freedom that they were expressing. And it's just a magical moment in film history when these critics, these writers are making their first films, and just to me, they always symbolize the notion of freedom and like a personal film that can be about, you read their writings from the 50s and what they were striving for, and then to see them achieving it, the Truffaut and all of them. So it's really inspiring. I think it's forever inspiring. You know, it's half of cinema history ago now. You know, it was so revolutionary new in 1960, but that's, film's 130 years old, that's the 65, it's like the halfway part,
It's the halfway part.
but it's still so inspiring, you know?
So
It's still
influential.
for I think every generation kind of discovers them, you know, so.
Can you talk about your experience when you first saw Breathless?
I first saw Breathless, I was probably about 22, just getting into film, and I didn't, you know, it was the second time I saw it that I kind of saw what they were doing. It's an unusual film, you know. It's like, okay, I liked it, but I didn't fully understand it. I'm kind of a slow thinker. I had to see it again. I'm like, okay, I get it. And I was reading books about the Nouvelle Vague. I was, you know, studying up. But once it clicked, I like it. But I don't know if it's even my favorite good art film. So.
Oh, I think it might be mine.
Really?
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll claim it.
But I mean, I love it. But you know, there's so
I'd also
many.
like to hear from
What's that?
you guys what your first experience looking at Breathless.
Oh, but I didn't really tell you my experience. I mean, I saw it with my dad, and yeah, I mean, I did, but I guess I could talk about it.
Well, we're being told we have to get out of here, so
Oh.
this, yeah, I know, we're just getting started. We're just